Hi guys, we're focusing on heat embossing. I'm just quickly going to show you a few basics. First of all, you need to get your tools ready before you do heat embossing. You need a piece of typing paper that you're going to fold in half. Okay, that will be like your little funnel. And it's a good idea to use your anti-static pad to kind of just make sure that it is anti-static, so that when you try and pour your paper back, it'll go much easier. You got gold embossing powder. You should have an embossing pad or at least an embossing pen. Here are some of the elements that you will be heat embossing, and I'm going to show you the background and the bubble wrap technique separately. Okay, and then of course you need a heat gun. The basic thing about heat embossing is that you need to know what you are doing. Or what you're dealing with. Embossing powder is just finely ground plastic. So all you're going to do is you're just going to be melting the plastic to make a unit, to cover something, to change the look, to add some sparkle. Not all embossing powders add shimmer or sparkle. Some of them add a vintage look, but they all alter a look. When you're going to use the clear embossing powder, we'll do that at a later stage. It all adds different effects and different looks. This month we're focusing on gold. Okay, most important thing, we always take the item we want to heat emboss and we press it into the pad. The only exception will be, I'm going to show you when we use it on our background, how do we just swipe it randomly. But if you're going to be heat embossing small elements, you always want to press it into the pad. I'm going to start with a simple element like the heart. So let's quickly do that together. Like I said, I'm going to take my heart, I'm pressing it into my embossing pad, and now I'm going to take my powder. And you can just throw it out over your heart. And then you need something to lift it with. I never can find anything when I need it, so I just use my hands. Bone folder is not a good idea. And then you should maybe make a little bucket for yourself, a container. It's just a normal plastic see-through container that I have lined with foil, and I use this for my heat embossing elements. So we can add all the embossing powder, or we can add embossing powder to all our elements, and then we can heat them at once. Okay, this was silver and we were working with gold, so all I did was I took the druzy stone, I pressed it into my embossing pad, covered it with my gold powder, and then I removed it, tapped off the excess, and I'm also going to alter that element. You will always also have a stamped journaling block. Good idea just to cover it with anti-static if you only want the powder to go where you want it to go. But this doesn't really matter because it's a random look. And then you're just gonna here and there add some ink with your embossing pen. If you work fast, you can do the whole element. If you don't work that fast, you really need to do it piece by piece. And you're just going to add some powder. Okay, and then you're going to put it into your container. Don't be as messy as I am. I am a little rough, so I make a big mess. Righto, the next thing, we're going to cover our title. Once again, you will press it into your pad. You want to get good coverage, but it doesn't matter on an element like this if you miss a little area, and I'm deliberately going to miss an area so that I can show you how to fix that. And once again, you want to cover it with powder. So there you can see I've skipped some areas, but I wanted to do that so that I can show you how to fix it. And I'm putting the powder back. And now I've got all my embossing powdered covered elements in my basket, and I can just go and heat it. The golden rule with heat embossing is the moment it becomes shiny, it is ready. Okay, sorry, my machine makes a very big noise, but you can see how that the magic appears. I love it, I love it, I love it. If you like the look, obviously of your title not being completely covered and having kind of a distressed look, that is not a problem. And there you can see how beautifully it melts on my heart and the little druzy stone, and of course on the my stamped journaling element. You can always go back and add some more. Okay, so there you have that. There's the druzy stone. You can see how beautiful that is, and it was silver. There's the heart, if you like the distressed look, and here is the title. One wonderful thing about heat embossing is that it actually makes whatever you're working with a bit more solid. Okay, so obviously now I want to get my heart smoother, if you want to, and you'll press it back into your pad. You'll cover it with powder again, and you will shake off the excess. There we go. Put it into your container. Sorry, that is my little puppy. She wants some attention. And you are going to heat it. And you will see how beautifully and smooth this ends up being. Just look at that. You can even add a third layer. That is entirely up to you. Just look at that. It is marvelous. Okay, so now we want to add a second layer to our title as well. You are going to press it into your embossing pad. Your fingers will get slightly sticky. It's not glue, it's just an ink that will make the powder stick. I'm not going to get too technical. We all have way too many inks and we're not always sure of what they do, but the Versamark watermark pad, in my opinion, is one of the best embossing pads around. I've had mine for many years. That's been through lots of classes, lots of hands. Yeah, so okay, there we go. And I'm going to place it into my container, and of course you want to immediately put the powder back into its little packet, or if you have a jar, and now you are going to melt the powder. Remember, when it becomes shiny, it is ready, and look at that. This is now the second coat. You can see how stunning that is. And all the imperfections, don't overheat it, because then it will actually literally burn through. It will lose its luster and it will just be a little bit off. There's a place for that. I actually do a class on doing exactly that, but this is not for right now, unless of course you want yours to look like that. Okay, it is really gorgeous. There's your beautiful title. On your background white cardstock, what I did, I took the bubble wrap with the bubbles facing down, and I just pressed it into my pad, and then I went and I randomly stamped it onto my background. I did not use the anti-static pad because I didn't care if it actually got powder where it wasn't supposed to get, but look at that. That is just gorgeous. And now I'm going to melt it, and you will see that you'll get a little bit of powder in places that aren't perfect, but it's supposed to be like a random look. Okay, you'll see I use a Marvy heat gun. It has very direct heat and it actually blows away some of the powder. If you have a Ranger, that is more a spread heat application, and you shouldn't have that problem. But look at that. That is gorgeous, and it's dry after about 5 to 10 seconds to the touch, and you've got a beautiful custom made background. Last thing I want to show you guys, on your page I took my pad and directly onto the bottom I just swiped the pad, and then obviously you have to do this over your typing paper, and you just sprinkle the powder. It doesn't have to be very thick. you want to make sure you can maybe do this the last embossing technique, so that you're not too worried about if you lose most of it, because it is kind of hard unless you make a bigger funnel for yourself. So now I've got my powder there, and you can just hold this in your hand. Remember that this tool melts plastic, so you really don't want to burn yourself or burn a hole into your cutting mat or your chair. I will actually, no, I won't show you my chair with the hole in. That can be when we know each other better. But there we go. And isn't that just gorgeous? Okay, I really hope you guys enjoy this. I love heat embossing, and I can't wait to see what you guys create. Have fun.